answer.
Right. Oh, there you go.
Because once you know something, it's incumbent on you to do something about it. So if you don't know, you can't say, well, you can't say that that, it's one of those things that one thing I learned with my oldest girl when he was growing up, I tried to, I went from directive, telling him what to do, to advising him, telling him, giving him recommendations. Um, when you make, and you tell, I told my nephews this, well, only a couple of them listened, but I said, the average act of copulation, and I talked about this about a couple of years ago on one of my shows. Average act of copulation when a baby is conceived is about 33 seconds. I said, do you want to spend 18 plus years for 33 seconds? And if you do, you should marry them, because if you marry before you carry, it at least you committed to something. A lot of times people just want to have fun, and they get reckless about it. And a baby ain't the worst thing from unprotected copulation. The baby definitely ain't the worst thing that can happen. There's a whole lot of other things that can happen. And like you said, I agree. Families should be involved. If they're dating somebody and you say, "Can I meet their parents?" And if they say no, say why not? So because you're not you don't they don't marry that person. They marry their family. Just like whoever they're marrying marries y'all too, or us. They got to be out. They all part of the family. So we gotta. I agree with you, Nicole. You make 100% sense. That may be a way to do that. Not to be all in a business like helicopter parents, but to be in an advisory role, and to get your seed to see that, look, I understand that this person gives you the tingles. However, the tingles is not going to get you through a lifetime with a partner. And I just want to bring up Apple. I know she was running late. She told me yesterday she was going to be running late. I'm glad that she was able to make it. What's going on, Miss Apple?
Hey everybody, I'm just sitting back listening to everything. Like you said, I got on late. I was in a meeting, but this is a good conversation that needs to be had. And as far as like getting involved in your children's as far as relationships, and I totally agree with that. I don't think you should meddle, but I think you should definitely know the people that your children are involved with, because ultimately you're going to have to deal with these people too. If a baby or marriage or any kind of long-term relationship comes from it. So I totally agree with Nicole that we as parents, we have to step up and get to know children's significant others, and kind of guide them in choosing correctly, because you don't want to get stuck with crazy in-laws. And
Somebody
I'm
somebody with
speaking
a tattoo on their face?
basically I'm speaking from experience.
Uh, People don't worry about that. That was a little inside joke. I apologize. I
I'm
apologize.
over here rolling too.
Go ahead, Miss Kim.
No, I just was going to add to that. When I was a teenager, I couldn't date unless my mom, because I'm from the South, unless my parents know their parents. And I mean, they had to know the family. They would not let me go out with just anybody. And even when my girls was in high school and getting ready for the prom or going out, I did the same thing. I asked, well, who your mama them is? Do I know them? And that's kind of how I vetted some of the guys that my daughter dated, because my parents did it to me.
And that's a way. Um, and then, I do have a question for you, Miss Kim.
Yes.
what is the line between being an advisor and meddling? Apple said something about, not meddling. What's that? Where do you draw the line at?
Um, when they're younger, I'm basically advise well, younger or either now they're young adults. I kind of advise them, talk to them, but I will let them know I'm not trying to run your life, but I'm just telling you from my own experience, X, Y, and Z. So just because I have girls, so just talking to them, sitting them down, having that conversation, but not putting the pressure on them. Because if you keep hounding them, they're going to do what they want to do. Because I know one of mine is very rebellious. So if I pound stuff in her, she going to go the opposite direction of what I want to do. But if I'm sitting to her like woman to woman, let's have this conversation. She'll act like she's not listening, but she's listening to me. So it's just the relationship type of relationship you have with your children. And they'll know what mama only looking out for my best interest, other than my mama trying to run my life.
Yeah, that's a hard line to take. Big
Yeah.
Al, you're a dad and you've got married children. How would and being in the military at that, so you basically have the trifecta. Did you meddle or did you advise your children when they were dating and getting married?
I was more of an advisor, and because you can't really choose who your children love. So I just wanted to give them fatherly advice. I have two daughters, and they made good choices. They picked men who were like their dad, who had a lot of my characteristics, and my daughters picked my sons picked wives who had a lot of the characteristics of their mom. So thus far of four, they've all been in long-term marriages and done well. But if they ran into difficulty, my daughters would always come to me and ask for advice. So, Dad, from a man's perspective, what do you think about this? So I always provided advice, but I never wanted to meddle.
Miss Summer?
Hey, I just wanted to piggyback off of what the gentleman just said. I think I was respected, well, not just because of who I was and how I carried myself, but because my father had a very big role in my life. He was very overprotective, but he always made his presence known. So there was no trying to get over on me. He was going to, he shook the gentleman's hand. He, made his presence very, very known. And in turn, I think I was treated, a little, you had to think before you tried something with me because you knew you would have to answer to my dad. So I think family presence in that aspect is important.
And that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand, especially girls. Your dad will never be mad at you unless you do something extremely stupid, but you don't want to disappoint your dad. That was the bottom line. Because they say, I'd rather you be mad at me than be disappointed with me. Because that means I failed at something that, when they're mad goes away. Disappointment takes a long time to get rid of. And and as parents, we've all been disappointed in something that our children have done, but it wasn't like a constant thing, because if they don't respect you, they're gonna do what they're gonna do anyway. If you didn't respect your people, you wouldn't even think about what they say or what you did or even care. But the fact that, being a parent and being parented, you realize that, you went from being a hardhead to, oh, now this is what my parents was telling me. And that's sometimes it takes a little while longer for kids for us, it happened with us, it happened with our children, it happened to their children, to understand what the parent was trying to tell you. And that's, a lot of times, and especially in our community, I can't talk about white folks because I don't, you only see what you see on TV, but we all have similar upbringings to where we had corporal punishment, we had we had punishments, we had, and it was do as I say because I said so. And a lot of us said, nah, we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to talk to our children. And not to say that spanking or corporal punishment was not on the table, but we did let them know it's a weapon. And if I have to use it, I will. And I'm not afraid to use it, but I'd rather talk to you. We don't, we as a society, Black people, we don't really talk conflict resolution, problem solving, critical thinking. Um, I know I was never taught, I had to learn about finance stuff the hard way. I call it discovery learning. You know, you could call it whatever you want. I call it discovery learning because I'll do something out of ignorance and I get burned. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. But not knowing something doesn't mean the circumstance is not going to happen to you. So I'm gonna this has been a pretty deep show. I was expecting some more people, but I guess things happen. Um, I'm gonna do a little quick monologue and then ask my co-host to say something, and then we're gonna close it out. I'm sounding all military like I used to. um, but all in all, the Black family is in trouble. We have to. We're bleeding people. We're bleeding our culture. We don't. I mean, a lot of lately, just the trash stuff has been showing, and we've been kind of buying into it. We've been consuming it. We need to realize that it's a plan to make us look like that, to have us at each other's throat, to mean mug ourselves, so we don't realize what society is doing and trying to marginalize us more than we already are. Um, it's got to start at the grassroots. We can't expect, we can't expect former President Obama and his wife to be the standard. We have to bring ourselves up and become that living epistle. That's biblical, by the way, so that when you're read, you know they know what they're reading. Because a lot of times we don't do that, and we don't get, we don't. We're so busy with our own stuff that we're not paying attention to our children. And I'm going to say this, and y'all can hate me or not, but we're responsible for our children until we're in the ground. We are responsible. We may not pay all their bills. We may not, cover all their owies, but we're responsible because we are the first teachers. If we teach them trash, they're gonna be trash. If we teach them right and they go wrong when they're adults, it's partially our fault, but it's not. I mean, but once they know right from wrong and understand consequences, actions have consequences, that's all you can do. You just got to keep advising, talking to them, teaching, coaching, mentoring them to say, hey, stay on the path. It's hard. People ain't gonna like you. You're gonna lose people. But in the end, you can look yourself in the mirror, and that's the most important thing. Am I making a contribution to my family? And I'm going to end it on that. Chocolate Pearl, you got anything before we punch out?
She took off away for a little bit.
You fell asleep?
Yeah, she's getting her ties together.
Okay. Well, you can speak for DJ Dabs.
All right, well, again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out to the show. It was good. Once again, went kind of fast tonight. Well, we got good conversation. Things move fast.
Definitely, definitely, I agree. Miss Apple.
Once again, I would like to thank everybody for coming on, and sorry for being late again. This was a very important topic because the Black family is declining, and we as the elders, and I can't believe I'm saying this now that we're the elders, we do have to instill in our children and our grandchildren that keeping the family unit together is important. And it may look different in each family, but the unit in itself, we have to break the stereotypes that Black men don't stay and that the Black family doesn't exist. And we have to just bring it back to those core values, you know. And that's about it. Thank you guys
And
again.
and thank you. I want to thank everybody that comes on, Cousin Nicole, Miss Andrine, Miss Kim, Miss Summer, Big Al, DJ Dabs, those out there in TikTok land, Miss Nikki on YouTube, the Mad Hat. I know if he's not there, he's there and spinning it. Those in TikTok land, those in Instagram land, Facebook land. I want to thank everybody for coming on tonight. See us next week. We always come with the heat, and we always look for good conversation. And maybe if you're lucky, you might learn something. I'm gonna say good night. Thanks for watching. This is the man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and of course, smooth as a Rolls Royce, saying, never make love by the garden gate, though love is blind, the neighbors ain't.